Hello, welcome to another episode of Tea and Talk Time. Come on in, sit down, relax, make yourself a cup of tea, or in this case, in 90-degree weather, iced tea. It's good. Well, as you can tell, I had my surgery. I have no teeth. Look, Ma, no teeth. Do you remember where that phrase came from? Look, Ma, no whatever. It was look, Ma, no hands. And that was, I believe, because of somebody riding a bicycle. And it was to show how good they were at doing it. But I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that one. But it does show a sign of your age when you can remember the origins of something, even though it's foggy in my case. But yes, I had my surgery. If you've been following on Tea and Talk Time on Facebook, you'll know that I had quite a bit of bruising afterwards. And I didn't even show the worst part of it. I just showed when it all first started coming out. And it got even worse after that. I mean, I had bruising going all the way down here because they had to take out impacted wisdom tooth. And I guess I bruise easy. I don't know, but I didn't even like looking at me. So I walked around with a scarf around my face when anybody was around here, just so I wouldn't scare them or hurt them or give them nightmares. But the surgery itself went good, I guess. I took the pain pills religiously because I didn't want any pain. So I didn't feel a lot of pain. I felt soreness, and of course with the bruising, I felt that stuff coming through. I saw the oral surgeon about 10 days afterwards, a week to 10 days afterwards, and he took all the stitches out and everything was going fine. I see him again next week, I believe. About a week from now. And I'm assuming he'll give me the all clear, and then I can go to the dentist and we can start the process of working on getting the dentures. I don't know. I'm just a sheep following the shepherd, trying to stay ahead of that Aussie dog behind me. But I'm doing what I can. Also on the Facebook Tea and Talk Time page, I shared a couple do-it-yourself recipes because it was amazing. My son took me to the grocery store one time, and it was a very frustrating day for me, and so afterwards I said, I want some French fries and a quarter pounder, a double quarter pounder. I was ready for comfort food. And so we went through there, and he asked if he could have, some fries, and so I ordered 2 fries. Get the order, we're in the car, I open the bag, I take out a French fry, I put it in my mouth, and I go, what the heck were you thinking? I couldn't bite it. I probably could have mushed it, but it just wasn't what I was craving. So I said, well, I guess you get extra French fries. And then I opened up it still wasn't computing. I opened up the bag and pulled out the sandwich and went to take a bite. And I go, you are such an idiot. You take for granted a lot of things until you don't have it. It's like I had carpal tunnel in my right hand, my right wrist, and did surgery on it. And you don't realize how many muscles are connected to one little area, and you also don't realize how much you do with your dominant hand. Like taking care of yourself after going to the bathroom. You don't realize what you have until you can't use it anymore. So for me, this has been quite the process of adjusting to a different way of eating. Now initially, of course, you have to go by what the doctor says, because you have to allow your gums enough time to do that initial healing and not open up the sutures. So initially, it's soft foods like pudding and ice cream and, things like that. And mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, the mashed potatoes. And then, after the stitches came out and everything looked good, I could eat more things, but I still had to be careful not to, damage the sutures and stuff. So I had to come up with other soft foods that were more entertaining than pudding and ice cream and mashed potatoes. And so I shared some of my concoctions, shall we say. I was craving tacos one time. And I know I can't eat the shells, even when they're really soggy, because I hadn't quite gotten the technique down yet on how to eat stuff when you don't have teeth to chew it up. You have to know how to move it around in your mouth in such a way that it does break it down more, and then you roll it so that you can swallow it, even though it's not chewed up the way you're normally doing stuff. So you have to learn how to eat all over again. So anyway, with I was craving tacos, and so I got a can of refried beans, a pound of hamburger. I already had a taco seasoning mix, and all that takes is a cup of water that you add with the mix with the ground hamburger. And I got shredded cheddar, and I missed my finger, and I got no brain is what I got, and I got sour cream. That's it. Well, I made a layer of the refried beans, put a layer of the meat on there, sprinkled some of the cheese on there, well, a lot of the cheese on there, zapped it in the microwave so the cheese melted. Then I encircled it with sour cream, and that was heaven, because that was my first real meal after the surgery, and that went down great. I had it again last night, only I have finally gotten to the point where I can add a little bit more. And so I added chopped up tomatoes, because that combination is what I really enjoy about tacos. Not necessarily the shells, and nachos Bel Grande. I'll get that way, with extra meat and sour cream. So it's the meat part of it that I craved. And that's been the hardest thing for me, is I'm very much a meat eater. And that kind of goes by the wayside once you've had oral surgery for a while. Yesterday, I think it was or the day before, was the first time I'd had a hot dog in a long time. And it was with the bun. But I had to cut it up with a fork into small pieces, and then I could eat it. I could get the sensation of the hot dog, and with minimal chewing and mushing, swallow, and I was good to go. So little by little, I'm adding more and more to my repertoire. I need to update the Facebook page, and I took a picture of it, I call it a taco pie, with the version with the tomatoes on top. So, I'm quite pleased that, I'm able to eat a little bit more and more, so the next 4 months don't look so bleak until I get my dentures. So, I'm grateful that I'm healing. I'm grateful that everything went well. So far so good. And the day that I had the surgery, it ended up being, I was supposed to go into the operating room. It was either 11 or 12, and it was like 4 before I went in. And that's because the first surgery of the day, they ran into complications. I don't know what all it was, but so I didn't have that. So I'm thank you, Father. I'm very blessed with that. So you just have to get used to me talking this way for a while. It is amazing how, not having teeth, I feel I look 20 years older than I am. I definitely fit the name Nana right now. But that's okay. That's neither here nor there. Since I took a hit to how I look, I've been focusing on other things, trying to generate the energy and the emotion to, get some work done on different things. So I've been gathering up rings that have significant birthstones to them. This is a turquoise and topaz ring, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it really good. But I got this because my mom's birthstone is topaz and my dad's is turquoise. Now, they both passed, so this is a way to honor them. And so I'm honoring my ancestors, I guess. And I'm getting used to the energies of the stones. I'm one that does believe in that. And I'm getting a sapphire ring for my son. I have an opal ring for my oldest son, who opal is October, and this is just a common opal. It doesn't have the fire in it. It's a white opal, and it has some joyancy like tiger's eye has, but it doesn't have the fire in it. And it's called, the common opal is called Potch, Potch, I believe. So I'm learning different energies and different meanings and different things on different things. So that's my oldest son's birthstone. My middle son, his is sapphire. He's September. My youngest is can either be pearl or alexandrite, and true alexandrite, natural alexandrite, is very expensive. So the ones that I'm looking at to get is lab created, which means it's identical. It's just not made by nature because it is so rare. So it should have the same properties. In a way you want the natural one, but then if, we can create it in a lab, then why tear up the earth to get these different stones? So I'm conflicted still on the pros and cons of natural versus lab created. So he's my youngest, and that's his stone. That's also my sister's stone. And speaking of stones and my sister, she's having gallbladder surgery because she has stones. So any good thoughts going to her, I appreciate. But I plan on getting her a ring too. So once I get my kids all lined up, then I've got my grandkids. I'm going to get their stones. And I've got a start on that. I have a garnet ring. And of course, these aren't high-grade stones that I'm getting. These are the E and F stones. They're not the A and B stones. Can't afford that. But it has the same meaning, the same intent, the same energy, maybe not as strong. But the two garnets represent my oldest grandchild, which is my oldest son's firstborn, and my youngest son's firstborn. They're both January, and that's what garnet is. I need to get amethyst for my oldest son's second child, which is a girl, Jessie. She's February, so that's amethyst. And her sister, the youngest of that family, is Jaren, and her birthday's in September, which is sapphire. So just like my middle son, they're both sapphires. And then Ryan, who is my youngest grandchild, he's the second born of my youngest boy. His birthday is in May, and that's emerald. And I have a cross coming that's made from emerald. Again, the lesser value stones, but if you're going to tear up the earth and bring all this stuff out, use it all. That's another philosophy I have. I mean, why just throw that stuff away? Use it. So initially, I will have the cross until I have a ring to represent Ryan. And then that leaves the ruby for my middle son's daughter. And this is the ruby that I've got to represent her for right now. And again, it's, C grade or D grade or, E or F. It doesn't matter to me. A, it's what I can afford. And B, it's a natural stone. Let's see, that was this and that. Yeah. That was a Mozambique ruby. Something I'm getting or have came from India. I don't remember. Too many Swiss cheese holes in my brain. But anyway, that's what I'm doing to keep myself occupied so I don't notice how weird I look right now. And nobody's really, ha at me or anything. But I feel that way sometimes, and sometimes I forget that I don't have any teeth until I go to talk. And then it's like, who's speaking? They sure are talking funny. It's me. And then also, if I have a craving for something that I haven't had in a long time, and if it's there and I go to try to bite into it, my hangnails, are you used to just, using your teeth and getting rid of a little bit of a snag, Can't do it. Don't have the teeth for it anymore. So I'm going to have to dig out my manicure set and use the little scissors and stuff that they have for that. Because I'm drinking more milk and taking my vitamins better, my nails have grown in a little stronger. And I had nail polish. I had actually Sally Hansen Hard as Nails hardener on them because it made them shiny, But I don't wear it very long because it tends to, any nail polish tends to break down my nails. They don't look as good when I take the polish off. So when I took the polish off yesterday or the day before, I have coconut oil in a big old jar. So I took a teaspoon of it, put it in my hands, rubbed it all over my nails, and then put the rest of, what was in my hands on my legs and my arms. So I think that's something I'm going to try to do anytime I do anything to my nails, is to, rub some coconut oil on them. Because coconut oil is supposed to be a real good restorative, balancer, whatever. They seem to be using it for everything. So that's what I'm doing to offset problems I'm having up here for now. And working on the stones to represent my family. That's where I'm going to start with. I'm getting some citrine because the citrine first before the topaz. Now I can't remember. Where's my little book? My mother had this little birthday book that she put everybody's birthdays in. So this is like from, 1942 is the copyright on it. And birthstones has always, for her, has always been, that's it, has always been the topaz, but in more recent years they've switched it to citrine because it's less expensive, and the topaz, especially the yellow, the imperial topaz, that was originally November's birthstone, is hard to find anymore. And they've done that with a couple other things, as in August. I don't know what August is. Oh, peridot is what August is now, but it used to be sardonyx. You know those brooches that you'll see that, you know, have the carving of the face, the cameos. Originally, those were made out of sardonyx. So I guess, you know, it's gotten harder to get a hold of that stuff. June was pearl, and now the alternative is the alexandrite. And guys don't normally wear pearls, so that's why I was looking for that. And Sandy, my sister, whose birthday is in June as well, pearls, she has trouble with pearls because they come off the post easy. And so, you know, that's why she was looking into alexandrite. My birthstone is the diamond. Always has been, always will be. May has always been the emerald, so that's cool. And March, which is now aquamarine, used to be bloodstone. So I had to go online and look up some of these things and you know, see what they were, because what's a bloodstone? So I find it interesting, and so I'm going to get familiar with these stones as a base. I've got a book somewhere. I got to stop doing this. But it has all of the stones in it. Oh, right there in front of my face. If it was a squirrel or a snake, I'd be in trouble. Squirrel just because they'd be going, oh, look how cute! Snake because it'd probably bite me. But I've got melodies, love is in the earth, a kaleidoscope of crystals. Okay, so if you're ever interested in the stones and what they are and what they mean, it's a very comprehensive guide. It tells you what kind of what it's made out of, you know, what kind of crystal, you know, just all sorts of information. And then it tells you the, you know, like it was used in the breastplate of priests. Is that how that goes? And you know, the spiritual meaning, the energies it draws in, you know, different things like that. So, you know, that's a melody is considered one of the what do you call it? Authorities. Okay, she's very in tune with them. So, you know, I want to learn the basics of my family's stones and the energies that they will help me with. Because when you wear them, that draws that energy into you, and that will help you achieve certain things. So that's what I'm working on there. And speaking of the family, today we got together over at my youngest son's house, apartment actually, and had a impromptu get together. It was really warm out, but there was a decent enough breeze that I wasn't too hot. Of course, the guys, they're all wearing jeans. At least the two oldest. So they were more uncomfortable than some of the others, but you know, it was nice. I hadn't seen the grandkids in a while. Joe's kids, hadn't seen them in a while, and so it was nice to see them and hear them and enjoy the family get-togethers, which, you know, generally speaking, I don't know if that's going by the wayside. I hope not, because you need to touch base with your family. You need to know what's going on. You need that energy because you're a part of it. So if you're not around that energy for long periods of time, there's, part of you that's not being fed, whether you realize it or not. You may not recognize it on a conscious level, but the energy is there. And you need that. Everybody needs that. It's not until you get older sometimes that you realize the importance of that energy, that you recognize there is energy, that you want to honor those who have gone before you. It's like the Who Do You Think You Are show where they trace your ancestors, and you find out different things. That is, wow, they were part of this, and well, that must be where I get this from. And there's a lot to say about that. And a lot of people believe, some of your spirit guides are actually some of your ancestors. And so it behooves you to recognize this, to acknowledge it and honor it, and maybe understand it somewhat so that well, where did that come from? It's like, oh, well, that's where that's from. For instance, I grew up without my dad. Mom and Dad had a very tumultuous relationship, and by the time I was in the first grade, they split for the last time. And I only saw him maybe 3 more times after that, my whole life, subsequent life. So he was a bit of a mystery to me. And I got to sit down with dinner with him, with my then husband. I think that was the last time I actually saw him. And, we're eating dinner and stuff. And I discovered a few things about myself. One, I have this very weird sense of humor sometimes, verging on gross, vivid imagination. Found out I get that from my dad. The dry wit, the sarcastic stuff, I get from my mom, because she's very, you're not sure if she's joking with you or telling you the truth. I mean, it's very dry and sarcastic. That type of humor I get from her. The wacky doodle, off the cuff, a strange sense of humor I get from my dad. So, I didn't realize the importance of knowing, your who your parents are, and, grandparents and great-grandparents and all the way back. Because some of this is in your DNA. This is how stuff matches up, and some of it carries through. So that became a revelation to me. And it was like, I understand, why kids who are adopted, and they're adopted into a great family. I mean, you wouldn't even know they're adopted, okay, unless somebody tells you. Why there's a part of them that wants to know who their biological parents are. It's not because they don't feel loved, they don't feel part of the family. It's just a need in the human psyche to know where you came from. That's all. Because that is part of what influences you. Granted, the environment you're brought up in has a huge part to do with how you turn out, for lack of a better way to say it. In my mind. Now, I'm not an authority on anything, okay, so this is all my opinions. But that extra ingredient of knowing, the personalities of your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, brings, shifts your perspective. You try to say that without teeth. Shifts your perspective enough that it is a a blessing, the knowledge of that helps you. Okay, fill in the blanks because I have too many going on right now. It gives you more resources to figure things out. How's that? That'll work. I'll keep it there for now. So it's I think it's beneficial, and I can understand why people need to know these things, and I would love to have that done for myself. I know I would like to verify all the research that my mother did on the Cunningham side of the family, which was her dad's family. But I would also like to know the Hardenberg side of the family, which is my dad's family. And my dad and his dad and his dad's dad, and, the Hardenberg is the German side of the family. Cunningham is the Scotch-English side of the family. Might even be some Welsh in there, too, if you go back far enough. On my dad's side of the family, it's pretty much all German, because I believe he was the first born American. His generation, his folks were born in Germany. So they were all, no mutt there. So yeah, it'd be interesting, to look back and see and identify and go, well, that must be where, this comes in and stuff. So that's one reason why that show is so fascinating. And I just don't have the extra drive right now to pursue other things. So, speaking of energy, I was doing water therapy. And, it was like 20 to 40 minutes, building up over 4 sessions. Well, I didn't do the last session because the lady wasn't going to be there. And next week I see the supervisor that set up the thing to see how it went. And with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, I'm telling you, it is so tricky. It depends on your makeup and your character, whether you can handle extremes. And to me, it was extreme. Now, doing the exercise and stuff in the water was great. I mean, there's less impact. You're able to go further and do more. At least I was. But unfortunately, it affects me the same way as if I had been doing a workout. I cannot do that because it wipes me out. It drains me of any ounce of energy that I had. And the first week it took me 5 days to recuperate and actually be functioning again without being sleepy and tired and worn out. The next time it took me up to the next time a full week, and I wasn't really ready to do anything then. And thank God that I had that 1 week off, because it took me 2 weeks to be functioning again. I'm just now to the point where I'm functioning earlier in the day. So I could only do 5 minutes at a time. If I do anything more, downhill I go. So I'm going to have to come up with something where in 5 minutes I appease the heart doctor and I appease the rheumatologist? Whatever. Too many holes in the brain. So, what can I say? That's just how it goes. And that's how my life is going. I hope your life is going better. Maybe now that I've gotten over the shyness of talking to you without any teeth, I'll be able to talk to you again sooner. If you have any ideas, if you've gone through this and there was a recipe that you really enjoyed that was really easy to do, and easy on the gums. You know, please sign on to my Facebook page, Tea and Talk Time, and share. I'm sure others would be interested to see and contribute as well. So we'll probably leave it there for now. Make yourself a nice cup or glass of iced tea for the hot weather, and if it's cool where you are, then hot tea it is, or whatever you enjoy. So until the next time we get together, thank you very much for stopping by. It was good to see you, and please take care, and God bless.